Now, before we go into that area of Islam, let's just reverse again and tell us, you mentioned Mary, you couldn't grasp that God had a mother.
Yeah.
But what about now that God was a man, or that he had a son, or that Jesus died for your sins? Can you elaborate on this a little bit?
Well, I think all of those things. At the end of the day, you know, we naturally, human beings understand that God is transcendent. God is not like anything in this universe. God is infinite, God is eternal, God is self-sufficient. What does it mean then to say that the infinite became finite, the eternal became temporary, the self-sufficient became needy, and still stayed eternal and infinite and self-sufficient? It doesn't mean something can't be eternal and temporary both at the same time. It's an impossibility. It's not a paradox. It's not something that seems to be a contradiction but isn't really. It is a contradiction. It's the very definition of contradiction. And of course, from the Islamic point of view, every single prophet came to warn people away from making God like the creation or imagining that the creation was like God. This is the message of all the prophets, that God is one. God is not like any created thing. That's why the first commandments, okay, the first commandment, thou shalt love the Lord your God, right? And you should love him and worship God. But the second is, you shall not make any graven image of anything in the heavens and on the earth, and you shall not bow down and you shall not worship them. In fact, that's two commandments. The first commandment is the prohibition of making any graven image of any living creature.
That's in the Bible.
It's the second commandment. And then it says, and you shall not worship them. So here it is very clearly, nothing in the heavens or in the earth is God. Nothing in the heavens or on the earth should be worshipped. Because God is not a created thing. God is not a man. It actually says that in the Bible. In Hosea, it says, for I am God, not man. So this is a blatant contradiction. It contradicts the message of all the prophets. It contradicts reason, it contradicts common sense. And it actually supports the idolatry that all the prophets had been fighting against since the beginning of time. So the claim that Jesus is God, or that he is God incarnate, or that he is a co-equal with God, or he is part of God, any claim that a human being is equal to God is an insult to God. It is disbelief in God. It is making the one who is great like something insignificant. God is not a human being. That's very clear and very obvious.